24.
Oh my God, she's just like me. Okay, so it's Thursday, so then where are we now?
Yeah.
That's just like me. So if it's Thursday, because the fucking Thursday, what's a Thursday?
The baby!
Wait,
That's
baby
not
is
gonna
pretty
happen.
tall.
You took the baby.
wait, is that the 29?
I've only known one baby, and she hasn't been a baby for 12 years.
Wait, your birthday's the 29th?
You don't know.
28.
You never got.
Wait, is there?
Let
me
There's not
stop.
29,
There
not
is.
29 this year.
This
Not
year,
29
next
this
year.
year.
Next year, leap year. I have a friend who's born on leap year. She's technically like 5.
Yes.
Y'all
She's not five.
Yas.
No, she's like 8.
Are we ready,
No.
Sharon?
She's 10. She'll be 10 next
Marina.
year.
Did you miss me at all?
I miss you a lot.
Good.
I'll tell you why.
Thank God.
So, Calise, do you mind speaking to the mic real quick? Hey, Calise.
I'm so upset that thing doesn't fit. I'm so upset.
It's beautiful though.
How do you spell your
Well, we
name?
have to get it
It's-
fixed because it was also
CALISE.
Khalees. But not like
It was
Khalees.
$50.
It's
Not like
Khalees.
milk
I was thinking
Yeah.
Khaleesi.
I was thinking milkshake.
It was. The label said 80.
Don't check a bone.
I think so. I think.
Yeah, we
I
gotta.
was like Marina.
Does it have instructions on the box? Did you keep the box?
They're like.
Did you keep the receipt?
I think I kept the paper, so I'm gonna find it.
And did it
I'm
take-
pretty sure I
when
kept
did
the
it come
paper.
in? Did it come in a while?
See, I have a personal mailbox because all my mail is getting stolen. So it came in on time, but I didn't know. I don't like. I need an alert for my mail. I wonder if I can sign up for like a $10 extra
People are
alert.
stealing your mail?
Yeah, because it's like a Jersey City. It's just outside the door.
Yo, people.
Oh, I got it. It's not like into. Okay.
So now I have a personal mailbox. So I don't
Yeah.
check it regularly because I keep forgetting that's where my mail's going because it's new.
Like letters mail?
Yes,
Wow.
like residuals.
Because when I was
Oh,
pregnant,
these
people were
folks.
stealing packages
20
from my
Oh,
registry,
sorry.
from our door.
It's none of your business.
They were dead ass stealing packages from my registry.
Yeah,
From
I
our
love those
doorstep.
videos of catching them and
Yeah.
glitter bombing thieves. Oh my
And
God.
and we have a baby in the studio, everyone.
I'm not gonna be able to not curse.
No, it's fine.
That's okay.
That's fine.
It's okay.
Oh, okay.
So
I think she knows
I learned on How to Get Away with Murder and Dexter that as long as they're like young enough, they're not even gonna remember this. They're not gonna
You learn on murder shows how to raise your baby.
I mean, where else are you going to learn?
How to get away with raising my child on murder shows.
Welcome to Friends Like Us. Marina Franklin here, your regular host. we have Regine, Calise Hawkins, and Jesi Taylor. Welcome back, Jesi.
Hi.
It's been way too long.
It's been a while. I had a
Yeah.
whole ass baby.
I feel like it's been, because the way I discovered that you had a baby was from Instagram.
Huh.
Because I was like, I don't remember you when you were here. Were you the last show? Were you pregnant?
Mm-mm.
No. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And so, when I asked you, is she a she, or you said it was complicated, and why?
So we intended going into having a child doing the gender creative parenting style, where you like let them figure out the gender for themselves, and
I think
don't.
she's objecting to it. No, I'm just kidding.
Right now.
And yeah, and we don't so it's been difficult because that was our intention, but it's just difficult because
Why is it difficult?
well, so like while I was pregnant, whenever anybody would ask like what are you having, I'd be like, oh, we're not gonna find out, just to avoid the conversation. And then eventually just got to the point where we were just like, oh, so yeah, we found out the biological sex, and they're like, oh, so you're having a girl. And we were like, I mean, no, because technically gender is something that I won't be able to figure out yet because gender's a construct, so technically how are we going to gender our baby if they don't even know yet? But then it turned into this whole thing. So it's like we try, but it's just really difficult.
Yeah, is it hard to talk about?
Oh, it's not hard to
'cause
talk
I feel
about
talking
emotionally.
About this,
but-
I feel like people are so nervous about talking about gender anything.
Oh yeah, I don't
these
mind talking.
days.
It's more just like it's complicated to talk about because it's not something that a lot of people talk about. But like emotionally or anything like that, it's not difficult at all.
Okay, yeah. I know Calise talks about this. She's talked about this on the show. Calise is back after a long time of not being here. I missed her greatly. And her daughter is she doesn't
Conform to a gender at
Any
all.
gender.
She speaks out against it.
Okay.
She's 12, and so I raised her on green and yellow and purples and stuff, and I just indiscriminately would give her whatever she wanted, and I didn't think of it except for like I don't want her to be bored, and I'm not girly, so why would I make her girly?
Yeah.
And so this world that has come about in the last 12 years is perfect for her.
Facts.
Or
See, I feel you for this.
Or they.
or
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
identify
yeah,
as
there's not
non-binary.
really a pronoun.
So
it's so hard not to say it.
Oh, yikes.
Because I'm trying not to say no. It's not a yikes. It's like they is so many,
True.
Yeah.
so it's hard for me. And so to me, they. I'm.
And
You
it
guys don't know how old I am.
confuses people.
That's
So
right.
to me, they from my childhood means them. Like
Much people.
no.
Many.
Let me be clear. They is the government. They want
Okay.
you to believe, or they want. So people going my gender is they now is confusing to me. It's
Okay.
hard for me to go. You're multiple of one person, and you're the they I know is when you talk about somebody in third person as like this entity.
Got you. When I would say they while I was pregnant, people would assume I was having twins.
Wow.
So they'd be like, so how far along? How old is she or he? And I'd be like, oh, they're whatever, and they'd be like, oh, I didn't know you were having twins.
I got into the habit of calling my daughter the kid.
Okay.
This is way before non-gender
like
happened to me. I didn't know about it. So I was only calling her the kid. And I was on Funny Girls at the
Okay.
time. And they said, you can't call her the kid because people don't understand why the mom would call her the kid. I said, I call her the kid. She's the kid to me. She's the kid. I'm the mom. She's the kid. And they didn't like it because they thought it was weird. They thought it was weird I called her the kid. I said,
Oh,
well,
that makes
I don't
sense.
like calling her a little girl. I just don't like doing it.
Same. I know exactly what you mean. It's like, I feel like part of the reason that I started thinking about it is because of my own gender identity issues. So I was like, I'd rather raise her than the kid in an environment where, see, I keep wanting to say she, but then it's they,
Yeah.
where there's no expectations. And it's interesting seeing how it plays out because before, like, close family members knew what the biological sex was, when they were, like, getting us gifts and talking about the baby, it was in very general senses. But then as soon as they found out, they were like, is it okay if I buy this? Is it okay if I get this outfit? Is it okay if I say this? Or they'd start saying things like, oh, she's going to be so this, she's going to be so that. And I was like, wow, okay, so, like, the baby's not even, like, out in earth yet. And there's already all these expectations and ideas about exactly what the baby will be just because they know what kind of genitals the baby has. And it's like, interesting.
I do find it difficult, though, as a person who doesn't have kids, to get gifts for people now, like in this, babies now, because I do find, it's just another step.
Yeah.
I should say, let me take that back. It's not difficult. It's just another step that can be slightly annoying, I guess I should say. If I was to be completely honest, because even with Calise and with Raina, Bonnie's little girl, I am so nervous about holiday gifts and birthday gifts because I don't want to offend this child. So, like, with Calise, I had to go, what color is okay? And then I had to think, well, and then I go, well, what is she into? Or what is, yes.
And I do. She. I ask her all the time. I ask her like monthly. I go, girl, and she's like, yeah. And I go, okay, cool. Like I always ask her, what are we doing?
But see, look, I go panic because I want to go, Asha.
She says she. She says she's a she, and she wants to change that one day. Okay. Fine. That's how I see it, right? I think the key right now. I'm gonna make an announcement. This is what we should do. Stop it with take the construct off of the he and the her. Facts. And we should just be able to say vagina is she, penis is he, without construct. We should just be able to say she and he visually.
The baby says
she agrees. No, that's an agreement. She's like, aye.
Can you expand? I'm just trying to understand what you mean.
Yeah.
I'm saying we have names for things for a reason. Take off all the social expectations of what a girl is and what a boy is, and you should be able to call a vagina, and you should be able to call a penis.
See, but that's different than necessarily equating either of them with a gender.
I know.
I feel like
I'm saying take off the gender. You should be able to say a baby with a vagina. You should be able to still say she, we shouldn't marry it with construct. We should take off gender and expectations.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be wrong to be a girl. If we took off the construct in the first place, if we didn't add all of the, here's what it means to be a girl to it in the first place, it wouldn't matter if I said, this is a girl if that girl feels like a man. It doesn't matter what she feels like if she has a vagina.
Okay.
Like, I'm just saying, this is a vagina.
See,
That's it.
I
Vagina is
agree.
vagina.
I feel like ideally that is what we should do, but it just gets difficult because of how many people do face like discrimination or violence because of confusion around those words.
I'm talking about
and stuff
parenting, though.
like that.
I'm talking about,
not
like,
in
the end
general.
result should have been changed differently. While
Yeah.
we're fluctuating, trying to figure out what to call each other, parenting-wise, if we're accepting people as just
facts.
a person,
Okay, I know exactly
we should
what
be
you
able
mean
to
by that.
label the thing we see.
Facts. Actually,
I can't see what your gender is,
Yeah.
but
I'm
we
gonna
have to
say
agree
this.
on a vagina and a penis, and if you take away the vagina, I can agree that now it's a penis. I'm not going to lie to him. I'm not going to be like, that's not a penis. I know better.
I know what
When I
you
see a
mean.
penis.
I know what you mean.
But I think the best comparison you made a while back was when you look at a cat, we often go, oh, she. And dogs, we usually go, oh, he.
Mhm.
It's a very, just an honest moment that people have when they generalize, like, or gender.
Yeah.
Like, we treat cats like girls.
It's
We treat
conditioned.
dogs- It's,
though,
yes,
too.
it is.
We have to
So it's-
unlearn gender.
Oh, it's absolutely conditioned.
because kids don't go through that.
Well, I mean, you're not.
Oh, it's just the behavior.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
learned behavior.
Yeah.
Like,
Femininity
it's the
is
same
called
reason
cat-like.
why
Yeah.
we'll look at somebody and automatically be like, oh, they're this. It's because we have all of these ideas about what that thing is, and if this person looks like that, then we'll think we'll think that they are that.
Right,
If
like
that
if a
makes
woman
sense.
is very aggressive, then we're like, oh, she's acting like a man, or she's an alpha
Something
female.
like that,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do. Speaking since we're talking about this now, I want to go into the Feinstein, Senator Feinstein, who said, because I think this is a good point to talk about the older generation versus the younger generation, where Senator Feinstein clashes with kids. Senator Dianne Feinstein of California was caught on camera arguing with school children on climate change. The kids were trying to change her stance on the Green Deal, and Feinstein replied by saying, look, I've been doing this for 30 years. I know what I'm doing. There's no way to pay for it, which prompts the girl to respond, we have tons of money going to the military.
Oof.
The incident was posted on Twitter, and Senator Feinstein replied by saying she heard the students loud and clear. However, she has not, as of this writing, changed her stance on the Green Plan or climate change. So Feinstein is Democrat, right?
Yes, she is a Democrat.
Mm.
So did you see the video?
Not the video.
No, I read the article.
Yeah.
It's important to see that video.
I think it's very interesting. I mean, I guess everyone's always, they're up in arms because of the way that she spoke down to them, the way that she dismissed them and their agency, and we can all talk about that. I feel like for the greater thing, which is climate change, which I will wholeheartedly say I believe in, I think the way she went around it was wrong. You know, if you want to get people on your side, insulting them is not really the way to do it.
Do you think
And-
I see, that's why I say watching the video is important, because I don't think she insulted them. I think she was just very clear.
Well, that was my second point, was to be like, regardless of how you feel about it, like if you felt she was insulted or not, or she went wrong or whatever, is the fact that climate change is a thing, and we should all be paying attention to that thing. And the fact of the matter is, she is correct 100,000%. We still live in a country where a lot of people aren't on board with it.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it does make sense to maybe, I don't know, I haven't read the Green Deal, you know what I mean? I haven't done tons of research on it,
We have
but
time for that.
right? We should
I gotta get my cat fluids.
Right, Leo?
Yeah.
I have to do my hair. Trust me, that takes a long, long time. No, but
And that was the Green Deal, like the Green Book? No, never
yeah,
mind.
right.
Bad joke,
Oh,
bad.
I was gonna say there's lots of things
Horrible
about that.
joke.
We'll come back to that.
Horrible joke.
But I think there's some people who aren't on board with it, and she's right. How are we gonna get those people who aren't on board with it to, if they don't even believe in it, how are we gonna get them to sign on to a damn deal? Like that, like, I think people need to be realistic, and I think when she meant by her comment of, like, well, I've been doing this for 30 years, like, I'm upset about it, but it's like, no, bitch, you gotta realize, you gotta know how to play the game with these people. You gotta be willing to give up some shit to get what you want. Is that good? No. Should the system be redone? Sure. But, like, are we talking about that? No, we're talking about the damn Green Deal, right?
Yeah.
So
It makes me wonder where funding and sponsorships are coming from, because I feel like so many like politicians will speak out or against certain things just because they know that if they don't, they're gonna lose backing that
Right.
they need for either re-election or support.
Well, that's
or
why they've
more
gotten
funding.
rid of, what are they called? I forget, those people who donate money.
lobbyists.
Lobby,
Yeah.
thank you. Lobbyists, I don't
Mhm.
have words.
But
But I do find this conversation has been very much on the tip of the tongue that there's a disconnect between the younger generation and the older generation. And I was saying I had worked with, I did a thing with Jeannie Gaffigan with young kids, and it was so eye-opening because I realized they have given up on adults completely. Now, I don't think that's a good thing. I think that, because they were talking about, well, what can we do to change? And none of it had to do with any adult in the room, or
Wow.
me. I should be I'm the adult in the room. And I looked at the kids, they were like, we can't help adults. We can't change them. So let's work on changing the younger ones. And I go, well, at some point you're going to get older, and you're going to want to change those younger ones are going to want to change you. So what we have to do is fix this problem. And I said, how about listening to each other? Because what I saw in that video was she wasn't listening to them, and they weren't listening to her.
Mhm.
And that's the main problem. I mean, to me, that's the real solution to all of this. I mean, I'm no expert at it, but I find that a lot of times what gets me is when I'm not listening. I get defensive, and then,
Yes.
and that's what I saw her doing. I saw Feinstein doing that. She was just not listening to these kids because she's got 30 years of experience.
See, like, I feel like it's listening, but it's also being very honest about facts of reality. So it's like, if the topic is climate change, for instance, or, like, let's say that it was a group of kids talking to some super right-wing Republican candidate somewhere who's discriminatory, and they're trying to do some type of change that has to do with racism, and they'll say something like, oh, I've been doing this for 30 years, like, thanks for your input, but, like, I got this. It's like, I'll listen to you and, like, hear what you've got to say and respect you and your opinion, but when it comes down to it, is the thing that you're trying to get me to listen to harmful? Like, is it something toxic that maybe we should, not silence, but work toward getting you to change what you're trying to get me to listen to?
Well, that's the thing. If you don't hear it, how are you going to know where they're coming from? And that's where I find the younger generation is shutting down listening because they don't want they want to filter in these negative things, but we got to hear what people are saying so we could correct that stuff. Like Liam Neeson was a great example of someone who, by the way, I wasn't bothered by it.
No,
I don't know about you, but I was bothered.
He's not the problem.
He's not but he was, the problem was,
there are larger issues that
Correct.
he's a symptom of.
but he's also being honest.
Yeah.
Right.
And in the moment, he's talking, and he's even saying it was a bad thing.
Yeah, I feel like people took that soundbite and they ran with it. And I think the other thing that is really bothering me lately about like every fucking thing is how people are not allowed to grow. Like, I am not the same person I was 10 years ago. If I said some stupid ass shit 10 years ago and I'm still saying some stupid ass shit, that's fine. I'm a stupid ass bitch. That's totally okay. But like, if I said some stupid ass shit 10 years ago and then today I said some better things, I think, okay, Regine has grown. Yay, let's welcome her into the fold or whatever. Not welcome her, I don't care. But like, whatever it is, I feel like we're not allowing people to grow. Like, are we going to go back into everybody's history for the next 90 years and be like,
Cancel
well,
culture.
you said this, and so everybody's
Depending on
canceled.
their job position, I guess.
Yeah.
Because
True.
if you've grown past like being a member of the KKK and then you want to be like president of the United States,
Well,
guess what? You're past.
Well, no,
Against
that matters. But with people like
right.
like Liam Neeson, when he
Yes.
acknowledged that, yes, that was stupid, and I
Right.
shouldn't have done that. And to some, I mean, I don't know how people feel about Kevin Hart, but same thing, you know. I mean, like I said, I don't know. I don't have any opinions
Well,
on it.
Yes.
That brings
But-
us to the Oscars. Thank you with the
Oh.
Kevin Hart thing.
Dun, dun,
Thank
dun.
you, Regine. I don't have it in the articles, but I felt like after I was. Did any of you watch the Oscars last night?
I can't afford TV.
Oh, do you stream everything?
Yeah, same. I
can't afford TV.
I only watched the first hour.
Millennials. What I said. You could.
I don't know where TV went. I can't find it.
You don't have a TV?
I can't find it. So there's a time when you could put an antenna still.
Yeah.
And now there's like flat ones that you can put on the window to maybe catch like.
What?
There's antennas from the dollar store. Okay, I'm poor and old. That's a bad combination.
So you should at least have some type of TV still.
I can't find it.
You can't find
Where's
it?
TV at?
TV, you could get it at H&M or.
Whoa.
See what?
Marina does not.
You
have
just
words.
said H&M.
I did. I meant the other the technical.
You gotta
store.
order it from cable. I don't know where TV is. It used to be you turn the TV on and then you have TV.
What's the digital place?
B&H.
Oh, B&H. Thank you.
I thought you were B&H.
What do you say? You go to B&H, you go, I'd like to have TV again.
You could go to Best Buy.
You go
Target,
online.
Well, you guys
Walmart.
are not saying the thing. What do you ask for?
You go to
You
Carroll
ask for
Gardens and find
plasma
one on the street.
TV.
No. Okay, so you guys are misunderstanding me.
Oh, you mean the actual network
Channels.
Yeah,
That's still there.
That's
ABC,
still there.
NBC.
That comes with the
Not
TV.
on mine.
Yeah, it comes with the TV.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
'Cause I definitely
I got a
have two
$1,500
TVs.
TV. You
No,
know, I can't afford
Oh,
a
I
TV.
see.
You have the
I'm poor because that.
Well, I mean, I
Oh, so
have
you
two
get it on
TVs, but I
Apple
just
and-
stream stuff.
I
because
got
don't have
Samsung
cable.
Me
TV.
neither.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
I don't
And I
have
have no
Hulu.
idea where.
Me too. I have Hulu, Netflix.
But the Hulu that doesn't come with the streaming for
Got it.
ABC.
Oh,
Got
they're really
it.
having that.
Okay.
We're having this and they're having that, and I love it. I don't want to talk to them
I know what you're
anymore.
talking about.
You guys are talking
Exactly
about
what
talking like
See, we're not listening.
intergenerationally. And here's the one thing nobody ever says when it comes to talking and listening. We're not the same. And I'm not talking about racially. I'm not talking about gender. Nobody's the same inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to listen to every person. So I don't care if it's a group of...
I thought you were gonna say every fuck.
or stupid ass bitch.
I probably was.
So
But
that's
I was
also
going to probably
gender
say
neutral.
every fucking kid. But I'm not trying to discriminate against
Thank you.
children because I do listen to children.
Yes.
But not every child deserves to be listened to.
Facts.
Not every adult deserves to be listened to.
Facts.
So we
Facts.
can't just throw people together and go listen to each other because this motherfucker doesn't deserve my listening.
I agree.
Not
So
everyone
we
feels
have to
that
vote
way.
on who gets these positions, and we tried to do it and it didn't work.
Mhm.
Democracy don't work.
Yeah, the system is
well.
inherently broken, but I know we're trying to get to the Oscars, but back to that.
No, it's important that we go back to that.
It's just that, yes, I feel like when you gave that example against, someone discriminatory, some right-wing asshole, like, yeah, no, I'm not going to listen to you because if you think my whole existence is not worthy of you commenting, then no, bitch, I don't want to talk to you. But, this is, I feel like, because this is climate change, I feel like the children and Diane, whatever her name is, Feinstein, should be, they need to understand how things don't work so that they can fix it.
Yes.
If you don't know how it doesn't work, then you won't be able to fix the damn problem.
Yeah,
and
kids,
that is
I
all.
felt like the teacher could have used that opportunity
Teaching moment.
Yes.
with the children instead of just being defensive as well
Yeah.
and saying, what is it that we're hearing from Senator Feinstein that we need to change?
This happened to me. I went to a fucking school. I went back to my high school and to talk to some students, and the kids started like heckling me. I was speaking to them. I wasn't even being a comedian. You come and tell a joke, and I got so annoyed with them. There's a high school students. I got so annoyed with them. I was like, I was like, I don't have to be here. You don't. Yeah, I was like, you don't. I have a child. None of you are mine, and you don't deserve me. I'm leaving. And I said, let's go. And we all left. I left with the whole crew. These motherfuckers thought because there was a camera, they could clown. And I left. I walked, and she let them follow me. This bitch.
What?
The teacher.
The teacher let them follow me. And teenagers are big people.
Yes, they are.
And they cornered me in the gym.
Wow. Did they pull up your pants like the underwear thing?
And I used to get bullied in high school.
Wedgie? Are you
That's
talking about Wedgie?
So I was severely
Is that
triggered.
how millennial you are? You don't know about Wedgie?
So this group of 6 children come and back me again, like, and they're like, "You're an adult. We're trying to figure out how to get out of Springfield, and you're supposed to be a good influence." I was like, "I'm a person, and there are too many of you." I was like, "Get the fuck out of my face!"
Word.
And they were like, "You're cursing at children." I was like, "No, I'm cursing at a group of kids
Yes.
that are you're scaring me.
Yeah.
You're scaring me."
Also, where are your parents?
Well, yeah, there's this thing.
One of them was kid. It was one of them was the children, the principal's child. So there's a lot of privilege the way they approached me.
There is a
Like,
lot of entitlement
parents,
going on with the kids.
Parents
these
needs a
days, that's
parent.
like-
I'm sorry. sorry. Like, if you parent, god damn it, so you don't keep creating these assholes that we gotta deal with in public all the damn time. Parent your child. That should not be everybody else's problem. The thing that came out of your crotch. I don't give a shit, man. Sorry.
But that's part of the listening. That's where the parenting comes in. It's like, you may have this idea, but you have to understand, like Calise was saying, people are different, right?
One-on-one, I can talk to a child. I will not talk to a group of children. And so the way they approach her, I go, it's nothing about her career, her 30 years, or anything. It's just disrespectful. Period. There's no so once you've been disrespected, it's over.
Word.
I don't care about any of the rest of the story. Just disrespected. Now let's try it again.
Amen. That's exactly right, because that's the one thing I find this young generation not doing with the older generation, is giving them the respect of what they've had to go through, which I don't think is original to any generation, but that's what's happening in these conversations. Is like, yeah, you have to give the woman, she has done 30 years. You know, that means something. And, you know, kids, you know, the thing is they will go through changes in their life. They should look at, why are they where they are when they get to a certain age? What is that? It's about, you know, a lot of times you plan life to go this way, and it goes sour. It goes sour and south or left or right, but it's never what you thought. But the thing is, you know, I do find, like, even with adults, though, we do need to listen to children, because children are open vessels. They're open. So it's like, you know, we got to bridge that coming together. Now, back to the Oscars, and why you guys didn't watch it.
I watched the first movie like hour and a half.
Were they live streaming it?
So, no, we had dinner at my partner's mom's
bring it up.
house.
Oh, that's
so we got
why.
to watch it.
Okay, I was gonna say they usually do it like the day after, and they put it back on.
Yeah.
Got it. I'll be able to watch it tonight.
When did this thing happen?
Well, the Oscars?
No, the thing at the Oscars that happened that you're talking about.
Something happened?
Oh, nothing happened at the Oscars.
Oh,
that
okay.
was just
Remy Malek fell down the stairs.
Rami?
Yeah.
Good. Motherfucker's way too comfortable.
Really?
Yeah, when he went to go accept his thing,
I'm
like,
jealous of people who
he's so clumsy and he just fell his ass. I mean, it's fine. I would have done the same thing. I have two.
I didn't see that moment.
I'm left-handed. I am terribly clumsy. So
I will be honest.
And you wear glasses,
yes, and they're real.
so you don't have any
I
side view.
I watched the Oscars reluctantly
Live.
Okay.
but this is what happened. I really did not want to watch it, because I just feel like, especially after the Jesi Smollett thing, which we'll get to, I'm so
Can't wait to
annoyed
get to it.
by celebrities right now, because I just feel like a lot of them have hijacked. I said it before. I'll say it. It's my statement. I feel like a lot of celebrities are hijacking movements for self-gain. And so the Oscar represents that on a huge scale.
Yep.
And it was a little less, you know, of like that. I will say they weren't as smug as they've been in the past, and pompous, and wearing their ribbons, their little fake ribbons of the Me Too movement, like a lot of them pretend to be a part of. That you could go, motherfucker, you wearing that ribbon, but we know. So it was a little less of that. I feel like they are learning that even we can see right through their bullshit.
Yeah.
So I reluctantly watched it, but then when I watched it, I was like, okay, it's without a host, which I don't think they ever needed one, by the way.
Was it still 8 hours long?
Yeah, it was still forever long. So, and the media is, by the way, in their pockets, because I could tell from the way they're saying it was great. It's still as boring as it ever was. I mean, it's just a long waste of time.
The Oscars is a sponsored ad.
Yes, it is. And they're all saying, oh, they did better. They see it's coming up in the ratings.
We just met, didn't we?
But
Hello, Regine.
I fucks with you now.
I'm Calise.
What's up, Calise?
But the controversy is Green Book. That the fact that they won as best screenplay adapted.
And Mahershala Ali, I believe, also bagged the Oscar for Best Actor.
Yes,
I read the shit the day after, so I don't have to watch it.
Have you seen the Green Book?
Not yet, but I have.
No, but I know what it's about, and apparently the family was very upset because the way it was done was more on the Viggo Mortensen character versus on the Mahershala Ali's character.
Now, the one thing that's left out of all these conversations is the character, the Marshall character, the guy himself said, "Don't contact my family."
No.
if you want to do anything on me. Word.
Mm.
Now, I saw the Green Book. I saw it. And I have to say, without any conversations or any my present understanding of the way things should be, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay.
Okay.
That's nice.
I did. Now, I may regret this.
Can I ask you,
a
did
year
you like
later.
The Help?
Absolutely. I didn't see
No.
I couldn't only get through a third of that movie, and I was like, I'm done with this kind of movie.
that. I didn't
no,
see it for
Help
that
was
reason.
different.
Because they do this on The Help. They do this. They go, oh, racism was just like Mean Girls. And there was like, oh, nice girl who was nice to the black people. And then there was girls that were like this.
Help was different.
You're
tired-
black?
I'm tired.
That's not how racism was.
That's not.
But
how
I'm also
racism
Ugh,
tired
you're
of every
black.
single year. I just want to be a bitch that gets like away from the serial killer and lives. Like,
Yeah.
why does it have to be that like every single black movie is about some blackness? Can't I just be a
Yeah.
person doing people things?
Well, that's
Have
blackness
what
be
the
black, yeah.
Green Book
Blackness
is
is a
actually
serial killer.
what stood out to me about the character Marshall character. Is this was a different type of black. This is what I focused on. This was a different type of black character that I've ever seen focused on in a movie before. He's not stereotypically black. He's concert music. He doesn't know. His whole story was he didn't even know who Aretha Franklin was.
Interesting.
He lives above.
Is he a millennial?
No. Are you serious? He's gone. So no. But he is very not typical of these stories we've heard. So it was really fascinating to see. And he was, the one thing that they did have problems with was them mentioning that he was possibly gay because he was such a private person and he was not open about that. So you have a character during that time who was definitely gay, who was also not stereotypically black, who was concert performer, who still was black.
Right.
That's what I got out of it. Now, the character that was embarrassing was the white character. The Italian character, if I was Italian, I may have some problems with this story because he was very stereotypically Italian.
Okay.
Interesting.
And, people had problems with like a chicken scene, but he didn't even, the black character didn't eat chicken. It was like really,
He did.
just on a soul, just watching it level, I did enjoy it. I wouldn't say it was my favorite movie, as far as winning the Oscars. I was like,
Should I see it?
yeah.
Okay.
I definitely say see it because you can't like erase history. You can't, and I do question the family now after seeing. I forgot where I saw that statement.
Okay.
I think it's in the movie, but yeah.
There's another thing about those movies. There was a time when those movies, when the magical Negro or the white savior, that was important. That people saw those interactions, and saw that they could. Like, oh, there's a humanity amongst that. Like, that was important. It was like the introduction of humanity. Now it's a little bit too, it's like maybe, I want to see the Green Book. If it's good, it's good.
Okay.
But now it's like, enough. Like, can we just see Kevin Hart pushing around a black guy? And you go to the subway, you see him pushing a white guy, and you go, oh, here we go again. What's this magical relationship going to be about, right? Why can't it just be two black people having a black life, right? But yeah, I don't have a full black life. So I go, well, all right, how do you do that? We got to tell different stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
We need new stories.
That also starts with the writing and the producing and all of these things because I feel like, what is it? What did they say? The Writers Guild is something like 90% white minimum.
Yes. Well, if you looked on the stage of the Green Book, there's only and I looked at that image. It's just Octavia Spencer, and what's his name? Marshala Ali. Thank you. And one other light-skinned brother
Okay.
on the end.
But
There's about 20 white people.
But that's what I mean, and I feel the crux of the issue too is when
Absolutely.
there's this like story I like to tell. When I was living in England, I worked in a restaurant and there was a Polish girl, and I don't mean like Polish like Americans, like I'm Polish. I'm like, nah, really. Like she's from there, like really lived there, etc. And I should also preface this saying I have been to Poland also. So here she comes. Her name's Agnieszka. She comes up to me and she goes, Regine.
She's good with names, this one.
Yeah, I would have screwed that up.
Agnieszka.
She goes, Regine. I said, Agnieszka. She goes, I want to tell you, I'm so glad I meet you. And I said, oh, that's so wonderful. I'm happy to meet you too, Agnieszka. And she's just like, blah, blah, blah. We're talking, showing me pictures of her kids, the whole shit, right? And then she's like, I have to tell you. And I said, tell me. She goes, you're not like other black people I see on TV. And every time I tell this story, everyone's like, I would have been, And I said, okay, why? Because she told her truth?
Yeah.
I said, as someone who's been to Poland, I will count on one hand how many black people are in Poland. 2, and I was one of them. Okay?
What she's saying is so important.
What she's saying, and exactly, was so important because it wasn't the fact that is, she wasn't trying to make a slight at me, even though people can take it like that. It's the fact that what she saw represented on the television did not match the person in front of her. And that means that my image, unbeknownst to me, is being broadcasted worldwide as some fuckery.
Yep.
Okay? And ergo, until we can change that by writing our own stories, producing our own stories, this will not change.
When I studied in the Netherlands, I had a really similar experience. I was studying psycholinguistics, and I was the only person from the United States in the class, and I was also the only black person in the class. And we all went out to eat, and they said the same thing to me. They were just like, I had no idea that there were black people out there that were like you. Like, before I met you and we talked, I had a completely different expectation of what you were going to be like. And I was like, wow, I'm really out here, like, changing people's representations of an entire fucking race of people.
Tiny
that's how we
ambassadors.
feel when we're on stage as comics, actually. I didn't realize I was in, like, I've said that actually on stage. Like, if you go to Broadway Comedy Club, there's usually, like, tourists in the room. So one time I was like, this must be a lot for you. Because they were from, I forget where, it was somewhere in Europe.
English speaking or no?
Not English speaking. Actually, I forget the place, but it was somewhere where I was like, are there black people? And they were like, no. I go, so this must be a lot for you. Because you didn't even think I talked like this, did you?
Correct.
You thought I talked like, hey! And she's like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, no.
No.
Look, I walk. Look how I walk.
Look, I have
But it's a lot.
I'd like to meet, though, one black person who met somebody from anywhere else, or met somebody who's not experienced with around black people who didn't say that. Like, I don't think that's ever happened. I don't think that's ever not happened.
Never said that.
Because they all are getting the wrong stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Especially
even somebody who represents, like, who presents as ghetto or thuggish, if somebody speaks to someone who's ghetto or thuggish, they would go, oh, that's not what I thought that was.
Yeah.
I thought that ghetto and thuggish meant something totally different than, oh, that's your accent and that's just where you're from and that's just how you talk and move. It's not necessarily who you are.
It's also what sells. Also over another, because they definitely laugh when I do the. I mean, it tickles. They're funny.
Yeah, I was trying to explain to Sky.
It's just coonery.
I was trying to play. Well, it's not coonery though. That's the thing I can't get behind. There's different kinds of people. It's not fair to call one kind of black bad and one kind of black okay.
It's all just black.
No, I'm saying them laughing at her because she does it specifically like this. If she talks in her normal voice and goes, ha ha, and they're like, that's not funny. And she goes, oh, I know. And that's funny to them. That's for me. Like, you're laughing at what is perceived, from my perception, it's perceived. Yeah, to them, that's what that is in some kind of weird way.
No, I get it.
That's only funny.
It's coonery if I do it, because I'm not authentically that.
But
They don't get
it
That
should
too.
never be called coonery. It's only coonery when a white person puts on blackface. That's the only time it's cooning.
Or if I do a black voice and it's not good.
Facts.
I don't think that's cooning.
You don't think so?
I think that
I've
we should have
had
never
so
given
many
them the
people get
permission to
mad.
tell us we don't get to be whatever the fuck we want, or we don't get to be as embarrassing as we want. When a white girl goes, oh my God, what? They don't go, ew, you coon. You fucking white, dumb, blonde bitch. What the fuck are you doing? You're misrepresenting us.
It's because they have the privilege of not doing so.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, so what were we just talking about?
Well, we're talking about the Oscars and the Green Book. And
no, but like right before, it was like there was something that you were just saying.
Representation and them saying you surprised me. I didn't know black people were like
I
that.
was explaining to Sky. So the stereotype, like the big black guy in this, like at any point in a sitcom, you're gonna see the main white stars go to jail, and there's a big black guy that does something untraditional. So they build these stereotypes to put a punchline. So what our problem is on stage is they haven't represented us enough for people to know where we're coming from. So it takes time to let them know we have a sense of humor, and we have to train them to understand what our sense of humor is, because they don't even get it, because they're used to the stereotype sense of humor is, oh, this big black guy in the jail cell didn't hurt. Oh, look, I'm Joey from Friends is sleeping on the black guy's arm. That's not
that
safe.
Laugh.
Yeah, that image, yeah.
That laugh is
Every fucking sitcom
Yeah.
has an interaction with a big human black man that's hilarious that he said a thing that doesn't match his accent.
true.
Like the Green Mile, we could
that's
say.
immediately what I thought of.
That is an example of, oh god, that's like
I love that
definitely
movie.
magic. Well, see,
I
the
might
thing is,
cry
it's like,
now.
oh, you like that movie?
It's just so sad.
Well,
That
see,
movie's so good.
It couldn't even be made now.
Yeah, probably.
So many things. American Horror Story couldn't be made
See,
now.
and
Oh!
I do have issues with that too because
I love that movie.
the
That
Green
show.
Book couldn't. The Green Book people. Oh, are you guys having? What's going on?
She's having a millennial moment
Wait,
with
what
me.
about the Green
She
Book?
thinks I'm a millennial. She's stupid.
You guys are fighting.
I'm
We're
done.
fighting?
You don't know it, but yes.
No, not at all.
Oh,
no,
okay.
no.
Am I misreading?
Marina, you don't know that I get manic.
Oh, because she's scared.
She's fine.
Mm-mm.
No, she's
No, she's not.
No.
she's comfortable with me.
Yeah.
All right,
She likes
oh,
me.
okay, all right.
We just bonded.
Okay, all right, good.
I have moments
I
of
just want to
mania,
make sure this
and
works.
so you've seen me be shy and quiet. So they've never seen that. So she's just taking me as this is the person who I am. So you're seeing me be aggressive, but she hasn't met me before this. So
Oh,
she
you
was-
haven't?
No.
Huh?
Ah,
No.
I thought you
Yes.
Mm-mm.
Well, back
For
to the,
me.
back to the Green Book,
Oh,
which
okay.
I do
So
want
So
to.
she's thinking I'm
You
attacking her.
seem chill as fuck
I'm being
to
a
me.
little intense for me.
I do want to make this point. So I don't want to
Go ahead.
Green
this about understanding each group member psychologically.
Why not?
Oh, because that's therapy. But the Green
Fine.
Book is no. You know what my professor used to always say, and I think she. It's so bad.
You just said.
Oh!
You just said.
Party
You
foul.
just said.
Oh, is your coffee?
Yeah, is the coffee spilling?
There's no coffee.
Oh,
You
oh.
just said. You just said. No.
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 There's a very calm no.
No.
My professor used to say this though in theater class. This is not therapy. She would say that, but it always was therapy. It always ended up being therapy,
Exactly.
no matter what. Because she would break down a person not being connected to their scene to the point where that person would be crying. I'm like, I think it's therapy. But what was I saying about
Green Book.
the Green Book? It was like I actually question whether or not like now would a person make a movie like that. Like it, I did enjoy it. I did like it. I know Spike Lee is very angry. You know, he walked out. If you guys didn't know that, he was
What?
like, yeah, he's like very angry that that movie won. And
Before or after
I'm
he
like,
won?
but it was after he won, and he
okay.
walked
Wow.
out while they were all on stage, and he says, I feel like it was like a strikeout, a miss.
He has no right.
Because that's how I'm like, wait a minute, are you speaking for everyone? Because there's a black man standing on stage who was in this, and then I just want to hear his arguments about it. And I'm like, now I know the family's upset, and I felt that. I felt that until I saw that statement about the character that they're making a story about, saying, don't go to my family, by the way, if you want to take a, image of my life. And I'm like, that's so important that he was able to say that before he died. Because people, even in your family, they don't know what you want to be said about you, really. And yeah, I don't know. It's very complicated. I'm sure there's some ways in which in this I'm wrong.
The
I'm
family's
just-
never gonna be okay with it. When has the family ever been like you?
Especially, look, when we
When?
write jokes, when we write jokes and our family's in it, I mean, I've had Leah do this several times. She's like, that's not how it happened.
I don't put my family in it.
I do, so I get this a lot.
Yep.
You know, I get my family coming at me sometimes like, that's not actually how it happened. I go, I'm right, this is for the audience, so I'm embellishing some.
Right.
I'm making it so that it's funny, so it's not all true there. But a lot of audience members don't really, get that.
Yeah.
Like, so it is, I think back to your point though, I think people would have felt more comfortable if they had seen more Black presence on that stage while they were receiving that award.
Yeah.
And that's probably, at the end of the day, that's the takeaway.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was up against Black Panther, and it was
Yeah.
up against the Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, Remy.
Yeah,
Remy.
so
I love Bohemian Rhapsody.
Was it?
I
Was
think
good?
it should have
Oh,
won,
I
actually.
loved
I
it
think
so
it was the
much.
best one.
I have a question for everyone. Do you think that Black Panther should have been nominated
For what?
for anything?
Oh, absolutely.
For some things, yeah.
Okay.
I think the
Just
costume
I
stuff
hated Black Panther.
was lit, but
What?
in general,
I hated it.
I didn't know that.
Because-
I hated it.
You know, I feel like good movie,
You talking
Oscar movie.
okay.
Questions.
So I had a conversation about this last night with my partner, and we were like, okay, let's be real. If we weren't, like, it's a time thing, kind of, where it's like, I feel like in an ideal world, like, if racism wasn't so rampant
Yeah.
and there weren't issues with representation,
Mhm.
it would just be like a,
Yeah, an action
movie.
flick. Right.
but symbolically, I think is what everybody is
Mhm.
like clinging on to, because it's
Mhm.
like, finally we have this, finally there's representation in the comic book world, finally there's a movie with so many Black people, like stuff like that. But like objectively, it's like, okay,
Black
another,
Panther.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like,
That's
Okay.
that's why I was
But
trying to.
Stale.
it's a symbolic thing where it's like, okay, and I feel like,
Maybe I was lying about how I liked it because I felt
Because at
scared.
the time, we all had. but no, it is
I
important.
have done that before.
It is important
I
to
appreciate
support.
it.
It is
Yeah.
important to shut the fuck up when progress is being made
Yes.
Mhm.
and let it just happen. I didn't shut up. I didn't do the important thing. I hated Black Panther so much.
Okay.
I thought it was such a disservice to Black people
Really?
to say that Killmonger was so evil and so wrong about all his feelings that
okay.
he's a sociopath now. That Black people who feel this way have something wrong with them.
So you had more of an issue with responses to the Killmonger character, but not so much
To
Black
represent,
Panther?
no. The whole Black
whole thing.
Panther represented if your people had never come here, you'd be healthy and stable.
That's right.
And now that you're here, you're victim blaming us. You're victim blaming your people did this to you, and you're here and you were abandoned by them, and you ain't shit now. You're a mess
Living
and you're
in
a
the
sociopath.
projects.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Wasn't it the projects where he was living?
and he couldn't. They couldn't let him. I don't think he died in the comic books, right? They couldn't let
I've
him
never read
overcome
it.
this.
I hated that. That really pissed me off too. That
Well, that's
they
the
that he
thing.
died.
It's understanding also the original comic book story, which I never know well enough to argue the points of whether.
Same.
Yeah.
Whether
Yeah,
it's.
Same.
I mean, Jay would probably know. No, you don't know this one? Okay, yeah. So I don't like. Someone once yelled at me and was like, "You don't read comic books." And I was like, "Oh, I guess." maybe
Someone
I don't."
yelled that at you? That's interesting.
Keith Robinson. He always yells at me.
Oh.
My main takeaway from Black Panther, though, is here's a conversation we never have. A lot of white people like to say, "I've met this Black person. This Black person's different." And they do the different thing, and they put them in positions, and they put them in, and these people rise. And this is one of those things where I probably shouldn't say this, but a lot of those Black people are not American.
Yes.
And so when white people meet American Black people, they expect them to be like these foreign, upstanding, like second, third generation
Mhm.
Black people
Go
that come from a
fast.
totally different culture
Mhm.
and a totally different foundation and a totally different income.
Mhm.
And they want us to be like them. And I don't have the same social training or confidence or money or anything.
Yo.
And then they look at me and they go, "What the fuck is wrong with you? We thought you were Black." And I go, "No, that's not Black, though." And that's the thing I shouldn't say. Because that's Black. They're experiencing the same life as me, but they don't have the same home life as me.
I will testify that's true.
I will also testify that
100%.
that's true.
Because I've had that done to me. Like you're not like the other Blacks.
I've done
I had someone actually tell me that. And it's
Where are you
because
from?
my mother is Haitian, I am first generation.
There it is.
So that's like the first moment in Green Book. Is like he's like, "You don't know Aretha Franklin. You don't eat fried chicken." And the character is like, "Just because you don't know." He actually says, you don't know black people just because you think you know black people.
100%.
It's such a powerful moment that I was like,
It's
is this not
it's very
the folk? People are missing that this is very solidly said, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm feeling bad for enjoying it because maybe I'm not picking up the bigger picture of what was wrong with that story. But that's what
you're enjoying it authentically,
Yeah.
and everybody else right now are having, it's called, I hate this, the people who say this word, virtue signaling. I hate the people who say that word, though.
What is it?
Virtue signaling.
Oh my god.
It's basically...
Please explain this term.
Well, there's a trend now, socially, like, just like fashion, where it's either ever since social media, we're either trying to be funny in comments or we're trying to be right and, like, good.
Okay.
The rightest and goodest of whatever.
Or
And
remarkable.
virtue signaling is when you know what people think is right, and you fucking jump on it for everything. So Green Book, white savior, that's bad. No matter what it does.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
So that's like getting to the Jesi Smollett story, right?
I can't wait for this one.
This was the same issue because I remember on the first day that it came out, my sister's in Chicago. I was like, wait, are people in Chicago believing this? She was like, no. I go, I'm so scared though. I'm not gonna say anything because I feel like I'll get outcast. We're that signaling thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll get you.
They'll get me.
Yep.
If I say anything opposite, and it.
Yo,
Thank
you know
you.
how much I post.
I'm here for you.
refuse to
You
post
see?
for
You got
a
it.
long
They
time
is the
about
bad
it.
guy.
So you refuse to
Okay.
post
They is
For
the
a while,
bad
I
guy.
Oh wait, hold on.
Not just the whole thing had me kind of like, because like literally, I'll post about anything. I'll rant about anything. I'll offer an opinion on anything. But like this, I was like, wait a second.
Give it a second, right?
I honestly feel like I won't even really chime in on how I really feel until a few months from now.
I hear that.
Because it's like especially when police are involved.
Yeah, I hear that.
Especially Chicago.
Well, you know what it is.
I posted the 2 years ago. The Department of Justice put out this 100-page long report on the Chicago PD and just how
corrupt.
Just how corrupt it is.
The specific officer, and I put it on our Facebook page, was like behind the shooting of the young kid in Chicago that they failed.
Oh, okay.
I don't have the names, but it was the one where he was shot so many times in the back.
Yeah.
And this specific officer, who's my sister posted, she's like, you know what? Before you start patting this guy on the back for the Jesi Smollett case and talking about how angry he was, you need to know his history and what he is and what he stands for.
Mm.
And you're right. That's the thing. That's why I didn't post either. One, because I also know we don't have all the information, so why post like you're a jury?
Mm-hmm.
But I did talk to my sister, and I was like, what is important, though, I think, for people to say right now is what Calise was just saying. It's like you have to be honest and authentic in your reactions, and that's okay.
Yes.
You can't be afraid to go, something ain't right with that.
Mm-hmm.
That should be allowed. You should be able to say that. Liam Neeson should be able to say, unless he was contracted not to talk like that, then other than that, he should be allowed to talk. Because that's him being his... Look, he may still be racist, too. Who knows?
Yeah.
But let his racist ass talk. So we find out, but the thing is this, because I'm from Chicago, I saw the absurdity of everyone getting behind him so fast. I was like, I know Chicago. I know Chicago racism.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't in that area. It's not in that town. It's very segregated. It's a very segregated.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, we know where not to go. Like, instinctually, I don't turn left sometimes.
Wow.
At all. Like, in Chicago, like if actually it's right.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm driving to the south side, I never get off the expressway from on the Dan Ryan all the way until I get out to the suburbs. I never go right. Unless I'm going to Hyde Park. But there's certain areas, like the White Sox, when I see the stadium, I don't go past that. My body knows it.
Wow.
I don't like cops. I'm scared. I'm more scared of cops in Chicago than I am in New York. They're a different beast.
That's terrifying.
I don't,
Yeah, I'm afraid of cops. I'm from Texas. I do not fuck with Texas cops at all.
However,
New York cops,
I did have, the cops did help my family out, which was an eye-opening moment when we needed help. they were there for us. I will say that. So there are good cops, there are bad cops. I had my first experience with good cops in Chicago, and it was jolting. It was eye-opening. But Chicago racism is very clear to me. So I knew something was wrong with this. And I knew that it was cold. And I was like, nah. Even racist people know weather. They know a time to come out. And it ain't when it's this cold. It was about to be a polar vortex.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, this, and Subway? That also, who's, at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, who's thinking about Subway sandwiches?
Also, are Subways open at 2 a.m.?
Unless you really like Subway. Does anyone
And he
like
showed
Subway?
up at home with the noose around his neck with his Subway sandwich in his hand.
He had,
So he got his ass beat,
Wait.
but he found his Subway sandwich and carried it home and left the noose on his neck so the police could see all the evidence.
I still want to know how Subway's open at 2 a.m. in Chicago and not here.
I will say this though.
Is it?
Subway's
There's a 24-hour It said it was 24 hours.
Okay.
There's a 24 hour. What?
It said on the window. I was surprised.
See, thank you. I'm like, excuse you.
I'll
Subway is closed
I'll be
at
honest
10.
with you. I believe the whole thing. I'm very gullible. So I was angry. I was emotional. I was scared. And then a couple days ago, I watched the interview. I loved it so much. I love watching interviews of people who don't know yet that they're going to be outed for lying. And I love the Duper's Delight. He did a lot of it. It's my favorite.
What's a
Duper's Delight is when you have to lie and it gives you pleasure. So your body reacts joyfully.
Oh.
And so what happens is, like,
Weird.
for instance, like, there's, you could look it up on YouTube, there's a video of a mom who killed her kid, and she's like, and she'll go, like, you know, like, so he did that so fucking much. So there's moments when he's being honest, right? And he's not lying. Everybody thinks he's lying. Everybody, like, he's talking about he doesn't want to be weak and he doesn't want to be fearful and he thinks this is important and there's fear. He calls it mongrels because he doesn't know it's called fear mongering. He says these fear mongrels are out here trying to, yeah, it's the same thing, trying to get us to, you know, basically fight each other. And he doesn't realize he's being honest. So he doesn't realize in that moment how much of a hypocrite, how he's fear mongering. He is doing the thing that he's saying he's trying to stop. But he's being honest. When he lies, it's when he goes like this. She goes,